you ever feel like the more you use your cell phone, the slower your brain works?
Yes.
Well, in today's Taiwan Insider, we're going to meet one of the quickest thinkers in all of Taiwan, Digital Minister Audrey Tang.
She shares her digital solutions to COVID-19 and also some tips for staying mentally sharp. I'm Natalie So.
And I'm Andrew Ryan. Let's check out the stories on our radar.
U.S. Congressman Ted Yoho has introduced the Taiwan Invasion Prevention Act, which would authorize the U.S. to intervene militarily if China uses force against Taiwan. The bill also suggests bilateral security dialogue, including Taiwan in military exercises, a trade agreement, and high-level meetings. Taipei has seen record-breaking heat over the past week. On July 24th, the mercury hit 39.7 degrees Celsius. That's the highest temperature recorded in the city since records began in 1896. One contributing factor is the urban heat island effect. This is the tendency for urban areas to be hotter due to human activity. Experts say the government should put a greater emphasis on urban planning, or this kind of heat could become the new normal. With COVID-19 ruling out international travel, domestic cruises have become the hot new travel trend in Taiwan. Each of the island groups off Taiwan has its own character, and now you can see what makes them special for yourself. The first of these island-hopping cruises has wrapped up to good reviews, and a second is now underway. There's talk of them setting off regularly in the future. If you think you know beef noodle soup, think again. Arguably Taiwan's national dish, the delicacy is at the center of an annual competition in Taipei. Entries this year are expected to stretch the boundaries of the dish as we know it. Ramen instead of ordinary noodles? Beef noodle soup without the soup? Both of those are planned submissions. The cutoff date for signing up is the end of August, and winners will be chosen in October. Under the radar this week, tourists are flocking to the island of Kinmen to visit a wetland where the water has suddenly turned pink. Don't worry, it's not pollution, just the result of warm weather and algae. #NoFilter.
And now for our words of the week. Andrew, ready to guess?
Yes. What do you have? Andrew. Aardvark.
You're always thinking about yourself. No,
Well,
just kidding.
you always do A words. Automobile, autocracy, autodidact.
Right.
Yes.
So what I found was very fascinating about Minister Tang is that she's an autodidact. She quit school in junior high with the blessing of all her teachers to learn everything on her own, and she became Taiwan's first youngest minister without portfolio at age 35.
It's
So,
impressive.
very impressive mind, and we'll be learning from that mind in today's show.
A lifelong autodidact.
Yeah, and we can do that too, but not quite to her level.
Yeah.
We can self-learn, but
I would like to be an autodidact. I'm working on it, You ready for my word?
yes.
All right.
Food? No.
Food. Are you hungry?
Focus.
I think that Digital Minister Audrey Tang knows how to focus really well. She can focus on a lot of different things. I think she just uses her brain differently than the rest of us.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so it's very fascinating to talk with her, and we'll be hearing a lot from her today.
That's right.
Let's put these on the show.
Taiwan's Digital Minister Audrey Tang has played a major role in coming up with tech solutions to guide Taiwan through the global pandemic. In fact, she's even shared some of those ideas with other countries like Japan and South Korea.
One of those solutions was a digital fence to track people during quarantine. And another solution was this open source platform, which keeps track of how many masks are available for purchase at the nation's pharmacies. This week, we met with Taiwan's top tech guru to learn more, and one of her solutions made us laugh.
Is there one particular solution to a problem that you've seen here in Taiwan during the pandemic that you're most proud of?
Yeah, so definitely, and that's the fun part, right? I talk about fast and fair. The fun part is this idea called humor over rumor. And this is not intuitive at all, so I have to explain a little bit deeper. The idea of an infodemic that happens around the same time as the pandemic is now getting traction, right? People, even in places where the pandemic is relatively contained, still see a lot of infodemic online.
Is that like fake news then?
Disinformation.
Disinformation,
right.
okay.
So people who intentionally or not, but mostly intentionally share some stories that are not true and that causes causes public harm. For example, at one time we had a conspiracy theory that says, oh, because we're ramping up the mass productions tenfold, it's the same materials, and I quote, as tissue paper, so we will soon run out of the tissue papers. Please go out and buy as much as you would, and unquote. And this is, of course, is not true. We all know that the tissue papers are made out of South American materials, and that the medical masks are from local PP materials. But it's not common knowledge. And so the conspiracy theory which travels on outrage really went viral. Maybe it has a R value of 3, like every hour, one person on average will spread to 3 other people.
And they'll share it themselves.
And they'll share among themselves. And the idea of humor over rumor is that 2 hours at most after each trending rumor, we have to push out a social media campaign done by professional comedians that are really funny about the same topic. And so on this particular topic, we pushed out a meme. The premier, Su Zhenchang, shows his backside, wiggling his bottom a little bit.
I remember that. That was very
in
cute.
Very large font. Each of us only have 1 pair of buttocks. And it's a wordplay because buttocks is a homonym to stockpiling. 囤 in Mandarin,
that's
right?
right.
So it says that 无论你再怎么会囤，我们都只有一粒卡层. So stockpiling doesn't help. And then with the table that says it's a different materials and so on, and it went very viral. Maybe have an R value of 5. And so people who have laughed about this, as you just did, is literally incapable of feeling outrage about the same thing. And so it's a vaccination against the conspiracy theories. And we eventually found out the people who initially started this conspiracy theory, turns out they were tissue paper resellers.
Oh, really?
That's not surprising.
Yeah, they were persecuted.
Business interest.
Now, there were so many fascinating things that Audrey Tang said during our conversation that I almost felt like I should be taking notes while we were listening to her talk. But what I think was interesting, the parts that gave me pause were not just what she thinks, but also how she thinks.
What I found surprising was how she manages her screen time. She tries to keep a distance from touch screens to keep herself from getting addicted. Now that's really smart.
It's very smart and also impossible. We're both holding screens right now. Now, I don't think I'll ever be quite at her level in terms of thinking deeply and kind of very carefully about different issues, but it was nice of her to give us some tips during the interview.
Do you have any, self-care regimens to keep yourself calm and mentally sharp?
Sure. I walk 15 minutes to work, and I walk back. And I think walking and not checking my phone while walking.
I heard you don't use a phone. You don't use a smartphone.
You don't have one with you today?
I don't. I really don't. And of course, during business hours, I do have a portable 5G device. And anyway, it's a LG V60 Thank you. But anyway, and it's like a small laptop, like in cabinet meetings. I can just place it on the table and start typing. And so it's a kind of mini foldable computer. And the point here I'm trying to make is that although I do have smartphones, I leave it in the office. And so when I'm working, I keep the phone. But when I'm walking back home, when I'm walking toward the social innovation lab where I work, I don't have a phone with me. And when, for example, when I'm out hiking, I have to keep a phone, of course, for emergency contact and things like that. But then I used this Nokia flip phone that is a feature phone that doesn't have a touch screen, that runs KaiOS, which is Firefox code base. And it's really good because without a touch screen, there's no way that you could get addicted to the phone. It's only there when you need it.
I feel like you're talking directly to me. Have you ever had a smartphone?
Yeah, I just mentioned that I have this foldable LG
that
thing.
Counts as,
which is a smartphone because it's a smartphone with a case that's a dual monitor. But you can also pick the smartphone out as a phone.
But never had to deal with any sort of addiction to a phone or social media or anything like that?
That's exactly right. Because for example, I check Twitter too, but on a dedicated computer, which is not connected to the intranet. And then only 5 minutes every half an hour.
Now, Minister Tang says that she uses the Pomodoro Technique. Pomodoro is Italian for tomatoes, but this technique has nothing to do with tomatoes and everything to do with this. This is the kitchen timer that belonged to the person who invented it, Francesco Cirillo, and it looks like a tomato. But basically, the important thing is that it's a timer, and you set that timer for 25 minutes. You work intensively, and then when that 25 minutes is up, you can rest for 3 to 5 minutes. Then you repeat the cycle 4 times, and at the end of the 4th cycle, then you can rest for like 15 to 30 minutes.
So I hear you do this sometimes? Not all the time, because I see you get distracted at work.
Yeah, I think we all get distracted at work. But I find that using a timer, I set a timer for about 20 minutes, and it keeps bringing me back over and over again. So I remember, don't be on Instagram all the time. Now, she had another great tip that involved sleeping.
So you work while you're sleeping.
That's right.
How do you train yourself to do that? That's really fascinating.
Right. It's very easy, actually. I just read the materials immediately before going to sleep. And I read without sounding them in my head and without passing judgments. So it's like a scanner. You just scan it.
You read it on a computer or?
It could be paper, but I also have this iPad. Which is technically a touch screen, but I only touch it using Apple Pencil. So again, no like touch screen addiction. Right. So whether it's an ebook or whether it's a large real printed paper book, I just flip it immediately before going to bed, and then say to myself that I will wake up with a solution. And then I sleep however long it takes. If it's really difficult, I may have to sleep for 10 hours. That's the longest. And then wake up with a solution.
I think I'm going to have to try that tonight.
That sounds amazing.
That's right.
Now, many people think of Audrey Tang as a genius and bigger than life. But how does she see herself?
Now, Minister Tang, you're one of the most recognizable government ministers here in Taiwan. We've seen, you in a Vogue shoot, photo shoot. You're an almost iconic figure. In fact, we have these little
Look at this fan art we have.
That's right. Origami
Really
robots.
fan arts of Minister Tang here. I'm curious to know, how do you interact with your public persona? Is this something that the younger version of Audrey Tang would have been surprised by?
Not at all. I publish in Creative Commons everything that I do anyway before going into the cabinet. And after going into the cabinet, because it's supposedly public domain, right? It's public work, public service. So I also publish under Creative Commons all the interviews and actually transcript or video of all the meetings that I chair. It's called Radical Transparency. The initial idea is that it makes journalism easier, especially investigative journalism, because you don't have to get a scoop. You can work with this entire context. But then something weird happens. People who work on hip-hop songs, rappers, started taking those interviews as samples and then putting it into their songs.
Really?
Like there's a Japanese band called Dos Monos that just remixes my interview and into this very popular rap song.
Where is the civic sector? Where is the social sector? Say very clearly that we're the civic sector, we're the social sector approach.
And I'm like, yeah, I didn't have that in mind when I published the interview video, but I guess that works, right? So for me, I don't over-identify with what people recreate or remix. I think it's just like a Da Vinci painting Mona Lisa, right? The Mona Lisa is the name of the artwork, but I'm not identifying with that figure.
Minister Tang said that she sees her public persona as being part of the public domain. Now, you and I are both like public figures, I guess. Kind of. I cannot imagine what it would be like to detach myself from, control over my public persona.
That's true. Yeah. And Audrey Tang, of course, was not always a public figure. When she was young, she was way ahead of her peers, but she had to deal with health issues, and she also was bullied. Now, in junior high, she quit school with the blessing of her teachers and decided to learn on her own.
If you were to meet your younger self and be able to speak directly to the younger Audrey Tang, what would you say to that child?
Sure, I would say there is a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's great. Again, that was Taiwan's Digital Minister Audrey Tang, and we'll have a link to the full interview in the show notes below. This week in Taiwan Explained, how do you name a panda?
And of course, we're talking about Taipei Zoo's baby panda, which just turned 1 month this week.
That's right. Right now, Taiwan has 4 pandas. In fact, there's only been 4 pandas in the entire history of Taiwan, I think. We have a family of 4. Let's start with the parents. So we have Tuan Tuan, the father, and Yuan Yuan, the mother. Now, this photo was taken of them when they were still in Sichuan before they were given as a gift to Taiwan. Now, how did they choose the names? Basically, they held an unofficial poll, and 130 million people in China chose their names. Now, their names, if you put them together, Tuan Yuan, that means reunion. This represents the hopes of the Chinese people that China and Taiwan can one day be reunited. So that's a bit controversial.
Yes, a little political. Quite political.
Yes, yes.
But what about the baby names for the ones born in Taiwan?
Okay, so those were chosen a little bit differently. They were also chosen by polls. Let's start off with the first daughter, who was born 7 years ago in 2013. The Taipei City Zoo held a poll and they asked people to come up with suggestions for names. And the name that people chose was Yuan Zai. Now, Yuan Zai, that Yuan, isn't she cute? That Yuan is the same character as her mother's name, Yuan Yuan, so it's like the child of Yuan Yuan. But what's really interesting is if you say her name in Taiwanese, Ya, that is a local sweet dessert.
Very yummy.
Yes, very yummy, little fat glutinous rice balls. So it's a cute name for her.
It is. And tell us about what's going on with the baby panda now.
All right, so brand new baby panda, just a month old. Now, again, the Taipei City Zoo is allowing people to submit names and then to vote for their favorite. Already, we have some fantastic names, or should I say, some very tasty names. Let's have a look.
She's finally out of the incubator and living with her mama, Yuan Yuan. While Yuan Yuan is slightly on the mature side for a panda mom, the Taipei Zoo said she is doing a good job caring for her second-born. The zoo will also be holding a naming contest for the newborn, who is now dubbed Rou for her gentle personality. While Rou is very different from her rough-and-tumble older sister, can you tell the two apart? The one on the left is Yuan Zai, and the one on the right is Rou. Anyone who has name ideas for Rou can send them to the Taipei Zoo. So far, the zoo said food-inspired names have been really popular. Popular contenders are yuyuan, or taro balls, a popular Taiwanese dessert, and tangyuan, the Mandarin version of older sister Yuanzai's name, which is also a dessert. If you have a good name for Rou, remember to go to the zoo's website to send it in before September 8th. The zoo will be picking out 6 of the most popular ones for people to vote on.
Now, if you would like to help come up with a name for the wee panda, we'll have a link for you. It's in Chinese, and that link is in the show notes below.
This week on Hashtag Taiwan, I want to talk to you about big money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
I have here a lottery ticket. It's for the biggest jackpot in the history of Taiwan's Power Lottery. Earlier this week, the Power Lottery jackpot sat at 3.124 billion new Taiwan dollars, which is about 106.5 million US dollars. The Power Lottery draw happens twice a week, once on Monday and once on Thursday. The jackpot grew because the Power Lottery went 47 consecutive draws without a winner. That's 23 weeks, almost half a year without a winner. Here's how the Power Lottery works. People choose 6 numbers between 1 and 38. They then choose an additional 7th number between 1 and 8. If anyone matches all 7 numbers, then they win the jackpot. The unprecedented jackpot prompted a wave of lottery mania. People started buying lottery tickets like it was going out of style, and they posted their tickets to social media. The government handed out stimulus coupons in mid-July, which some people used to buy lottery tickets. That was allowed because the lottery benefits charities. On Monday, the Power Lottery numbers came out. How'd I do? Well, let's just say if I had won the jackpot, hashtag this week wouldn't be this coherent. It would actually just be footage of me doing cartwheels over and over again on a loop until I inevitably somehow blew 3.124 billion new Taiwan dollars and had to come back and do this show properly. Man, I didn't even get one number on this thing. Anyway, 2 people won the jackpot, one of whom bought their ticket at the exact same shop where I got my ticket from. One winner bought their ticket from Da'an District in Taipei, while another bought theirs in Zhusan Township in Nantou County. Da'an is one of the more affluent areas in Taiwan, so some netizens vented their frustrations with this meme. It says, "Can Taiwan residents really participate in the lottery? Is that even legal?" Now you might think such a close brush with $100 million might have broken me, but misery loves company, and oh, I have found somebody who is much more miserable than I am. Shortly after the winning numbers were announced, a man, a broken man I assume, posted his lottery ticket on Facebook. His numbers were off by 1 for every one of the winning numbers. The winning numbers were 5, 8, 19, 21, 27, 37, with the last number being 2. This unlucky fellow's numbers were 4, 7, 18, 20, 28, 38, and 1. He missed every one of the winning numbers by 1. Someone went ahead and did the math for him and said the odds of that happening were like winning the lottery. Dude, that is way too soon.
All right, today's brain game is a top 10. You guys remember how to play this? You guys have to compete for the buzzer, 1 answer per ring of the buzzer, and whoever gets the most on my top 10 list wins.
On
in
your top
90
10 list? Oh
You
my
guys
goodness.
love
90
putting me in
seconds,
stressful
okay?
situations.
The answer is Panda.
Giant panda.
Okay, so it's been very hot this summer. So the topic is how to cool off Taiwan-style. Ready? Go.
Eat watermelon.
Nope, it's not on my list.
A wet water cloth.
That's not on my list.
Stay in the shade.
Not on my list.
Mango ice.
Mango ices.
Oh, we broke the buzzer. A fan.
Nope, not on my list.
Air condition.
Where? Go somewhere.
Inside?
Yeah.
In the house. Go somewhere with air conditioning, department stores, stuff like that.
Okay,
Bookstores.
go to, I said Taipei 101, but that's
Type of
fine.
101 is a good one.
Sleep on a bamboo mat.
No.
Oh,
Keep going. You guys keep going. There's a lot of things you can do in Taiwan. or places you can
go ice skating.
No, that was on my list.
Go to the beach.
Go to the beach.
What do you do at the beach?
Go swim.
Okay,
Water.
Scuba dive.
Scuba diving.
Go kayaking.
No.
These are hard.
Scuba dive. No, you already said scuba dive. Snorkeling.
What places can you
Go
go?
up to the mountain.
Yes. What? Okay, go to the mountains. Ali-san was on my list. What else do you guys do?
I know. I just wanted to push the buzzer. I don't know.
Oh, I know. Drink
Quintessential Taiwan.
Taiwanese drinks.
Yes.
Oh,
Bubble
no.
tea.
Ice desserts. Frozen ice
I already
desserts.
said that.
That's
You
what we
can't
did.
have
We said that
one.
already.
Go up to the mountain and do
Can you give us a hint?
What can you carry?
Sun umbrella.
That's right.
Oh, sunbrella. That's a good one. You already said portable fan. You already said portable
Where else
fan.
can you go? What are destinations?
Go to an outlying island.
Dig a hole underground.
Put your head in that hole because you're embarrassed that you have no more answers.
Hang out in your
Okay,
car with the air
guys didn't do too
conditioner on.
bad.
Don't go anywhere.
Okay, so actually these are all great tips. They guess 6 and 3 each. Oh, we need a tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
Okay, one more guess. Who can guess one more on my list?
Can you give us a hint at least? Get your hand
What
off the
do you
buzzer.
find all over Taiwan? A place you can go anytime, anywhere.
7-Eleven.
That's right.
Oh, that's the same as department stores. It should be karaoke. I don't like your answers.
I'm gonna do my
Okay,
victory
I
dance.
also had a couple more. Go cycling at night. And also you can go to the National Palace Museum. We have tons of museums in Taiwan. And you can take a dip into the Su'ao cold springs.
Oh, I didn't.
I said swimming.
There's that double. You don't swim in the cold springs.
I think you
This-
guys are too
I
specific.
do
but,
laps in hot springs.
I think
bro.
your answers are too specific.
All right, so those are some ideas for you how to cool off in the summertime Taiwan style.
Are you ready for the Taiwan news quiz? This is our lightning round. That means we have 60 seconds on the clock, and we are going to test Natalie and Leslie, test their brains, and see how much of the news from this past week they can remember. You ready, guys?
I guess so.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. So, a crowd of people gathered in front of a Taipei hospital after rumors emerged that who had passed
Lee
away?
Teng-hui.
That's correct. The first democratically elected president in Taiwan. Officials tested 189 people this week, prompted by concern of a domestic outbreak of COVID-19. What prompted that concern?
Thai immigrant worker returning to Thailand tested positive.
That's correct. The Central Weather Bureau says that this July was the first month in history without what?
Typhoon.
That's right, tropical storms. Daycare centers for the elderly in New Taipei are introducing a new technology which does what?
Monitor their vitals and send it to the family members.
It does do that. It also uses facial recognition to help them check in and out and lets the family members know that they've arrived. The Culture Ministry has withdrawn plans to have public television service launch what?
An English video platform.
That's right, International English Video Platform. What Taiwanese company surpassed Johnson & Johnson and Visa this week to become the world's 10th largest company?
TSMC.
That's right, the world's largest contract computer chip maker. A 101-year-old man in southern Taiwan became the oldest person in Taiwan to do what?
File for divorce.
That is correct.
Are you serious?
That's right. He said that his 81-year-old wife had abandoned him. It's a long story. We won't get into it, but you can find that in the show notes below. I have one final bonus question for the two of you. This one's going to be easy for Natalie, so maybe we'll make Leslie answer it. A patch of wetlands in the outlying islands of Jinmen have turned pink. What caused it?
I know the answer.
Algae bloom?
Very
That's
good.
right. Very good.
All right, it's algae and heat, and I think the images are so stunning. We showed you a little bit at the top of the show, but I think we should show you the full report. Let's have a look.
Meet Jinmen Island's hottest new tourist attraction. The Suangli wetlands at Guningtou are always lovely, but now they've moved way up on everyone's must-see list. That's because they've turned pink. From the air, it looks like a palette for painting in watercolor. The algae have colored the waters in a variety of shades and colors. It seems that pink is an especially big hit. Little girls have even come dressed to match. The unusual color is natural, caused by the multitude of algae growing in the water. Jinmen water testing technician Li Jingzao says this phenomenon happens when there's enough sun and heat and the pond is fertile. So now is the perfect time to come visit this new addition to the tourist trail on Taiwan's outlying islands.
So after meeting Digital Minister Audrey Tang this week, I've been rethinking my mental strategies for staying mentally fit. Leslie, how do you stay sharp?
I'm going to start putting my brain on a whetstone and, sharpen it. Keep it sharp.
Like a knife.
That's right.
Nice.
Okay, mine's a little bit easier. Listen to music. It's like a massage for the brain.
Oh, very good. Mine's even easier than that. Don't use your brain at all. You'll stay fresh.
Not a problem.
So what are your tips for staying sharp? Leave a comment below. For Taiwan Insider, I'm Andrew Ryan.
I'm Natalie So.
And I'm Leslie Liao.
See you next week.